They show up to the reception barracks and they have you lined up and they call your name. You go throw your stuff on the throw your stuff on the on these paddy wagons is what I call them, or these freaking cow trucks. You throw your stuff on there. Now most people, they get on a bus and then they take them to basic. Well, they didn't do that with us. We marched to basic. So we marched from our barracks to our basic training barracks, which was probably about 1.5 miles up the road, and we marched there in hot ACUs in Columbus, Georgia. But anyway, so we get there and they do the infamous shark attack. So the shark attack is basically they put everybody's bag in this big pool and mix them all up, and then as soon as you get there, they tell you to go get your bags and you got 10 seconds. And then you got drill sergeants over there by the bags waiting on you to get over there, and then they're yelling at you saying, hurry up and get a bag. Just grab a bag and go. Just grab a bag and go. So you grab a bag, right? So once you grab a bag and it's not yours, you get back to the line and they tell you, hey, no, if that's not your bag, why do you got it? You need to go back over there and you need to get that other bag. You need to go get your bag. So you go back over there and then there's still drill sergeants over there telling you to grab a bag and go, grab a bag and go. So after the second time, I realized that it was a mind game, and I said, okay, so they're just yelling. They're not doing nothing to me. So they were yelling at me saying grab a bag and go, but I was still looking for my bag. So I finally found my bags, and then they was, oh, you think you smart, huh? You think you this, you think you that. So anyway, we get through that. You know, they make us put the bags over our heads, and we're tired, and freaking arms are burnt. And then we get through that, and then, you know, we split off into our platoons. Our drill sergeant took us around on a tour and showed us around the barracks and showed us around the CTA area where we're going to be doing PT and all this kind of stuff. They took us back up to, we went down to the Chow Hall and picked up boxes of MREs to take back to the barracks. Once we picked up those MREs and we took them back to the barracks, we went, they gave us our bed assignments, and then he was like, toe the line. So when he said toe the line, which at that time we had no idea what that meant, but later we would know later in our basic training experience that toe the line meant not something good. We told the line, and he said he was going to introduce us to some of the exercises we were going to be doing at PT, and they smoked the crap out of us for like 45 minutes, like just smoked. It was hot in there. They turned the air off. It was like everybody was sweating bullets. It was ridiculous. It was crazy. So we do that. By the time we do all that stuff and look around, it's time to go to lunch. So it's our first encounter with Chow. So we go to Chow, and then, you know, they doing all this crazy stuff, and, you know, you got to sound off third Reaper in the Chow Hall and all this kind of mess and whatever. So we get in there. You know, it was the first time they had you eating all fast, and I just wasn't used to that. I tried to eat fast, and then we were lining up, throwing our trays away to leave Chow Hall. Probably within 7 minutes later, that's probably all the time they gave us. And all the food I put in me was gone. I threw all that stuff up. And they yelled at me till they couldn't yell at me no more. And I had to clean that stuff up while they were yelling at me. And I went to bed real hungry because everything I had in me was out. So I was hungry that next morning. I realized that they're going to yell, they're going to say things, just eat. So you learn how to eat fast real quick if you don't think you can do it. There's a lot of things, myths that people tell you that you can't do, like you can't eat and work out, you're gonna throw up. But we did that every day. We ate full meals, and right after we marched out of the Chow Hall, we had to knock out like 25 push-ups, 25 crunches and sit-ups, or we had to go take a lap around the gravel pit. It was a gravel pit at Fort Benning, and that's where sometimes we did PT. But anyway, we had to take a lap around that, so we had to do some type of exercise before we went in, right after we ate. And I was like, man, this is stupid. Who does exercises right after they eat? But you get used to it after a while because we do it every day. And we get there, blah, 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 and then we start going through the things. The first 3 weeks is called red phase, where you can't do much. Everything you do, no matter how good you do it, is ate the freak up. It's wrong. It's not right. It's ate up. So you're not going to be right that whole week. Everything you do is a soup sandwich. Nothing you can do right during that week. And I figured that out like a week and a half in. So I realized that, hey, it don't matter how good I do this or how quick I do it, it's still not going to be good enough. So I realized that early on in red phase. So red phase, you know, you get introduced to some of the things. We do PT. We get introduced to like some of the runs at PT, which I sucked at. We do a 1-1-1, which is basically 1 minute of push-ups, 1 minute of sit-ups, and a 1 mile run, which I did terrible on. I think I ran like 13-minute 1 mile, which is terrible. Push-ups, I've never struggled on push-ups. I've done push-ups all my life. That's something that I could never fail. You had cats in there that couldn't even do 8 push-ups. But by the time basic was over, they was able to pass it. But I just couldn't fathom that a grown man couldn't do 10 push-ups. Like, I was flabbergasted. But you had cats in there that couldn't do it. So you do all that stuff, and then you go, you know, you do all these little, they take you to all these little different things, and then they teach you how to tie a swisher seat, and you know, they teach you a little bit of land nav, and then that's when you read that book a lot too, that little book they give you that has all like the facts, and you learn the ranks and general orders and the soldier's creed. One word to the wise, if you are going into basic soon, or you're going to go to basic training, learn that stuff before you get in there. Learn soldier's creed, learn the general orders. That stuff will save you so much time to know that crap already. Learn the ranks, learn what they look like, because it helps you out a lot. The second 3 weeks we got white phase. So white phase is still, in my estimation, felt like red phase. So white phase is the second 3 weeks. So it's 9 weeks in basic training. So we're on week 4, 5, and 6. We go to the range, we start learning about our weapon, we start carrying it around and being responsible for it, and learn all the things that have to do with the weapon. And then the last 3 weeks, which is 7, 8, and 9, is supposed to be blue phase. It's supposed to be, they're supposed to trust you, you're supposed to be, you know, proficient in a lot of things. But again, I don't think we ever went to blue phase. I felt like we were a mix between red and white, and it was called pink. So I feel like that's what we were doing. That's what we were in. I don't feel like we ever went into blue phase. During that phase, you go and get another haircut because your hair is grown back. You go and get refill on your hygiene products. They take you over there, you buy it. When you come out the store, drill sergeant's there waiting to look in your bag to make sure you didn't get anything you weren't supposed to get, and then they keep it moving. So you get into blue phase, you come down to the last APFT, you come down to your last qualification range, because you go to the range so much, you're just gonna get sick of a range. You know, we were excited to get our weapons, but god darn, when it was time to turn them in, we was glad to turn them in, because you had to have those things with you at all time, and you couldn't leave that thing nowhere. So you get tired of it after a while, and you're glad to turn it in. You're glad to get it, and you're glad to turn it in, just the way I'll say that. So you got the last qualifications, you got the last APFT, and then you got the last task, which is the field. When you go to the field for a week, and then you do the 12-mile ruck march. Now at Fort Benning, there's a legend that there's a hill called the Stairway to Heaven, and everybody was talking about the Stairway to Heaven, and it was such a steep hill, and a lot of people fall out of the ruck march because they can't make it up that hill. But when we went through and when we did it, we were walking at such a fast pace that we went over that thing, and I didn't even know we went over it. I asked, "Where's the Stairway to Heaven?" They said, "Oh, we went over that miles ago." I'm like, "What?" But we were going so fast, and our pace was so ridiculous. I don't know why they had us walking that fast, but we were rolling, and like I don't know why they had us doing that. But anyway, I was in Charlie Company 247 at Fort Benning. I still keep in contact with a lot of the guys today on Facebook and different places. I think I'm friends with pretty much everybody that was in my platoon that's still on Facebook. So you definitely build a bond with people that you go through basic with, because you go through all that turmoil and all those triumphs together, and it's just people that you're never going to forget in your life. You're just going to always remember these people because you went through that with them. But that was my experience. Basic training was it was something that I did a lot of things that I didn't think I would be able to do, like the confidence courses, and then I was scared of heights, and then I jumped down off that thing, and just so many things that I did that I didn't think that I would be able to do. And it kind of set the course for my mentality, and the mentality that I have right now. That I can do anything. Like I came from a small town called Bradenton, Florida. It's really small. I was there all my life. I didn't take my first plane ride until I was 22 years old. I was really sheltered. I wasn't that exposed. So when I went to basic training, that was my first time ever even living in a different place, a different state. And then when I got, living in a different state and doing all these things in different areas that wasn't familiar. So it definitely opened my eyes to a lot of things that I didn't see early in life. I got to, I was able to experience a lot of different things. But it was like I said, the best fun that I never want to have again. I don't never want to do it again. But it was fun when you think back on it, but it wasn't fun while you were in it. So long story short, basic training, that's what it was like for me. Just to backtrack a little bit though, you do get a family day. So once you're done with everything, APFT, you've done all this stuff, you've done the ruck march, you've done all this stuff, then they have family day, your family come, you go out there and put on like this little show and do some DNC and you march out there, and then your family runs, and you know, they see you for the first time in 9 weeks, and then you get to go out on a town with your family, which is not a whole lot to do in Columbus, Georgia. Some of the habits you pick up in basic training translates when you go with your family. You eating, the first time I ate with my family when we left, I was done with my food. I was sitting with my legs together. I was done with my food so fast. It's like, why'd you eat that fast? I was like, oh, what you talking about? To me, it was normal, but they were looking at me like something was wrong with me, how fast I was eating my food. And it's because it's what I had been doing in basic training, and it translated over into my regular life. So again, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions about basic training, leave them down in the comments, and I will respond and answer those questions.